The next step is to prepare some roofing material. This is the type of drawing paper that I use as the base for my roofing. I have taped the black art paper onto a disposable backer. I will then be using Ben's Scale Consortium powdered pigments to tint this paper. I will apply fixative. When the fixative is dried, I will apply number 1371 over that and then fix that. When working with these pigments, you want to be careful to minimize the amount of dust that you're making, as it will contaminate everything. I'm using this large makeup brush to apply the powders. Okay, this is the fixative that I'm going to use. Okay, I've sprayed the fixative onto the paper. Now we're going to let this dry. Now I'm going to switch to the 1371. Now that the second spraying of fixative has dried, I'm going to just lightly dust this. If you happen to notice that you have gotten any of the pigment around your work area, clean it up with 70% isopropyl alcohol as quickly as you can, because it will contaminate everything if you don't get it cleaned up. Now I'm going to peel the tape off. Now that we've removed the roofing material from the brown paper, you can clearly see the color of the actual roofing. Okay, the starting of the roofing process requires that we establish a square edge and side. Now I'm going to mark out 3-foot wide strips. Okay, the next step is to apply the roofing. I measured the width of the roof, and that turned out to be 2.852 inches. And I'm going to add 60 thousandths to that, so that I should cut each length of roofing to 2.912 inches. I've got that set up on my micrometer here and made the first cut. What that does is gives you 30 thousandths overhang on each end of the roof, so that you can fold the roofing material over. I've added some 3-foot spacer lines to the rooftop as a guide as when I'm adding the roofing material. There will be overlaps so that as we move up the wall, we'll get a little further away from the line, but it will still allow us to ensure that we're keeping the rows of roofing straight. To cut the roofing material, I use the inside gauges on the caliper. And make my cut. I'm going to use Scenic Express Matte Media as my adhesive for attaching the roof parts. It has the advantage in that it will dry flat, so if any excess squeezes out, it will not be a glossy spot. Okay, I'm going to get the first row started on each side. So get some matte media on a brush and spread it on the surface of the roof. Doesn't need to be real thick, but adequate to make sure that the edges are well covered. Now I want to have a slight overhang off the this edge of the roof. So I'm going to align my first strip slightly below this 3-foot mark. Just verifying that I have an equal overhang on each end. Now you want to be careful so that you're not smearing your glue onto the face of the roofing material. Okay, I'm going to do the second one on this side. I want to get the glue down along the edge of the previously applied piece, but not an excessive amount, which is what I have right here. That is going to squeeze out if I add, as I press the roof piece on, so I'm pushing it back away from the edge. Now I'll line up this piece. Again, now overlapping slightly the previous row. And then once I get one side lined up, I use the line on the top that I've drawn on the roof to line up the second row of roofing. I've measured this distance as 2023, and I'm going to add 60 to that, so that'll get up to 8.3. Check it out. Looks like that'd be good. Another piece. When finishing the edges here, we're using matte media, so what I do is I kind of brush it in on that underside of the roofing material. And I wipe it off and then roll the edges over. And if the matte media is on this trim board, it'll dry flat and you won't see it when it's done.